Hi, everybody. This is Prabhath Gotham, and we want to welcome you to the very first episode of Hungerless in Seattle. And I'm here with my co-host, Jamin Shively, also known as Darth Vegan. Hi, Jamin, and please tell us a little bit about why you wanted to create this podcast, Hungerless in Seattle.
Hey Prabhat, hey Gwenna. So great to be with you both. Yeah, Hungerless in Seattle is basically the bi-weekly or with whatever frequency we end up recording and but it's a way to connect with both leaders and experts in the community like Gwenna and yourself, and really explore the boundaries of this amazing program, Hungerless in Seattle, which we intend to be an example for all the world, for the world to go hungerless. Mhm.
That's great. Well, we're so excited to have our very first guest, Gwenna Hunter, founder of Vegans of LA Food Bank. She's been a longtime friend, and I'm a huge fan because what she's done, I just never saw anybody do this before, which is bringing, healthy meals to people in all different socioeconomic groups. And she's shown us all that you know, all the hunger and security issues. It's not just low income families. It's not just children. It's working class people that are struggling and worried about how to get by week to week, month to month, day to day. So thank you, Gwenna, for everything you're doing. And we're excited to learn about all that you do with Vegans of LA Food Bank.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to tell you all about it and what we're planning.
Well, great. Okay, let's get started with how did you first come up with the idea of the Vegans of LA Food Bank? And then when did you start it?
So I started it in, I would say April of 2022. The idea just kind of downloaded into me. I had been previously working for another nonprofit, Vegan Outreach, where I was in charge for Los Angeles, and we were doing outreach programs where we would go to different organizations like Black Lives Matter, Black Women for Wellness, Black Women Farmers, the LGBT Center. And we would bring produce to them and pack them up, and their community would come and receive it. And we were hearing people reporting about having amazing health benefits. They were like, people were like, when we were presenting kale, they'd be like, "What is this? I've never seen kale before." And I'm like, "You've never seen kale before?" And so it was really surprising that people were getting to try vegetables on us. And so people were like, "Oh," I remember one time we brought some Beyond Meat sausage, and one lady said that she used to use ham hocks and she replaced it with the Beyond Meat sausage. And she was saying that her blood pressure was lower. And we weren't beating anybody. We weren't saying go vegan. We were just presenting it. And I kind of burnt myself out, but I love the work and the benefits from it. And so I was thinking, well, how can I continue this work, but not where I'm going all over the place all month and we're in the heat packing bags. And then the idea was like, well, have people come to you, have a food bank. And so I looked and I said, okay, well, there has to be other food banks in LA that are vegan. I just assumed that there were. And I saw that there weren't any vegan food banks. I'm like, this is crazy. And so I started doing research of what I would need. And I'm like, okay, I need a warehouse, I need freezers, refrigerators, a truck, a staff. And I'm like, I got maybe $1,000 in my bank account. I don't know how this is going to happen. And I just really put out a call to the universe. And I'm like, if I'm the one that's supposed to do this, I need to be divinely guided and for the pieces to fall literally into my lap. And that's literally what happened. I ended up meeting this pastor that we were meeting about something else, and he's telling me that he has a food bank. And I tell him that's what I want to do, but a vegan one. And he says, well, you can just take over part of my location. I already have employees. I have a truck. I have freezers, refrigerators. I didn't have to do any fundraising. And so I got started with basically utilizing Food Forward initially, which I still do utilize them, and some other services. And I got a little bit of seed money, and we started supplementing with, different things like kale and cabbage and garlic and different items. And yeah, it's been going now for 3.5 years strong.
That's wonderful. And I know people are constantly trying to get you to open up new food banks everywhere. And
Yeah.
what you've always said to me is if they can figure out the funding, you can help advise them. But you really need somebody boots on the ground, right, local to do it, because it's just so much coordination and pickup and
Yeah.
overseeing all the volunteers, right?
Yeah, and I'm not interested in having food banks all over the city. I would like to inspire other people to do it and give them the blueprint. I've been doing it 3 years now, so I have a little bit more wisdom and insight. So I could definitely walk people through the steps. Collaboration is key. That is how you get started with very little to no money, is by collaborating with an existing program. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I don't want to open up a bunch of food banks.
Yeah. So, Jamin, talk to us about your vision for making Seattle a hunger-free city. And then obviously, people like Gwenna having her input and how, you could create a food bank there and all those things around food insecurity in Seattle.
Yeah, well, first of all, my gratitude to you both, and Gwen, a special gratitude for you being so generous with offering to share with people how to get started, how to do a vegan food bank. Um, our vision builds off of the food healers vision, which we had the honor of implementing in Los Angeles and is still going. Started by Sarah Siegel with our support from afar, and then traveled to Los Angeles to implement it. So basically, we would produce large quantities because this is the model, right? The heart of the model is producing literally giant quantities of plant-based stew, nutritious, delicious, like perfected, literally gourmet plant-based stew. Because the difference between regular and gourmet is recipe and care in cooking and cooking times and all that. We're going to err on the side of raw, not raw, but err on the side of that, not overcook. And so basically produce this amazing stew, like really perfected, and different variations of it, for different seasons and honoring different cultures and cuisines and spices and whatnot. And so mass produce it either at one location or maximum two locations for the whole Seattle metropolitan area, and deliver it cold, right? So that we're not delivering something hot and therefore, losing nutritional value. Prepare it and immediately refrigerate it, right? Or rather, prepare the ingredients, immediately refrigerate all those, and then blend them together as we dispatch truckloads of cold stew. And then at the locations where they arrive, if it's a kind of a food service location where people can actually sit down and eat, which is, extremely important for lots of people, wonderful. Or whether it's at a more of a food bank kind of situation where we deliver it cold in like 55-gallon, food grade um, drums, right? And then people can then come to the food bank and, bring your own container so there's zero waste. And then serve the cold stew. We fill up your containers. If you have a large family, bring large pots, and we'll fill you up, and then you take it home and heat it up there. And then, of course, for houseless people, it'll be the places where they can come and sit down and eat, right? Because they don't necessarily have that with which to heat up the stew themselves. So we want to address all scenarios, but the bottom line is we want this to be just ubiquitous. I start with stew as the most basic thing, but you mentioned kale. This is my morning kale smoothie here. Absolutely love kale. So we can also do smoothies, right? I mean, just look at how inexpensive it is to get the Super Pro organic greens at Costco. Well, imagine getting it by the truckload. So the idea is to get refrigerated truckloads of all kinds of produce coming to our giant food factory, right? Where we crank out the stew and then outbound, trucks with cold stew go to all the different places. And in terms of the food service, it could literally be somebody's home. They open up their garage, a couple days a week and, heat up the stew and close off the ends of the street and turn it into a little block party, right? Where, with music and the kids playing hopscotch and whatever, so it's not just feeding people, it's creating these essentially the community center concept. But whether it's pop-up or at a permanent facility, obviously the ideal is permanent community centers, and we've got a lot of those. And so it's like just add food, right? And a lot of those have kitchens and whatnot. So but a big part of it is we want to make it absolutely ubiquitous. So I'm going to be starting a campaign next week called Lawless in Seattle. I'll just go ahead and share the image here. So this banner is literally 11 feet wide by 4 feet tall. Okay. So it's a giant, a giant billboard sized banner. Lawless in Seattle. And what's the idea of Lawless in Seattle? And what's Jane Goodall doing there? And what's Darth Vegan doing there? Of course, I'm dressed as Darth Vegan doing my thing with that big billboard next to me, singing Spanish love songs and with amplification and all that good stuff. Just like I did at Juneteenth, where you and I presented together. So they're in Malibu, thanks to Pravat. Anyway, so Lawless in Seattle is basically saying, look, if we don't even have the basic laws of feeding everyone, taking care of basic human needs, turning basic human needs into basic human rights, if we're not doing that throughout the entire city and actually metropolitan area, actually all of Western Washington for starters, if we're not doing that in a way that is totally ubiquitous, taking care of people's needs and also planetary needs. Now, the cool thing about Hungerless in Seattle, by making the entire city vegan, a vegan city, because of this whole program. There's going to be a lot of debate at the beginning and blah, blah, blah. And what are you saying? And da, da, da. And well, let's look at the facts. Let's have the debate. Let's have the conversations. We're obviously going to win that debate, and we are going to make Seattle the first vegan metropolis and let that be an inspiration and example for the rest of the world. It's feed everyone and feed them the right foods, 100% plant-based foods. It's as simple as that. So that should be law number one. Speaking of lawless, if we don't have that law and a whole bunch of other laws, making basic human needs, guaranteed basic human rights, and taking care of the rights and needs of Mother Earth, who also needs that the entire planet go plant-based. She needs it with so much urgency. And she has other needs as well, such as the need for a livable climate, a livable heat and temperature profile for the planet. We're way overheated right now, and we continue to overheat. And the correct term is global warming. The planet is overheating. That's what's driving all the climate change, which, we all know the history of that term. So it's getting it right for both people and the planet. And once we have the laws in place that say Seattle is all in on solving the whole poly crisis, right? Then and only then will we become that beautiful, utopian, compassionate city that we have the potential to be, and we can be leading the world. So the wake up call is Lawless in Seattle. Until we have these laws, we are lawless, right? And who wants to live in a lawless city? Well, that's where we're living right now. So,
Yeah, Gwenna, do you think it's realistic, possible to provide meals for everyone in the US, around the world? Like, is there a way to truly solve the hunger issues around the world?
Well, I think that we create scarcity. It's not naturally, it's not happening. We create it. I personally believe, especially in the United States, I can't speak for other countries, but I know for the United States, there's plenty of abundance here. Plenty of abundance. I mean, the food waste issue is crazy. When I first got into the whole food bank idea, I wanted to be a food waste expert. And after about 2 weeks, I was so angry at what I was learning. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to do the food bank work because it was making me pissed off all the time. But one of the things, you were asking in the beginning how I got into this and all this other stuff. Like I get downloads sometime, and one of the downloads I got from the earth, from her, was that she provides abundance to her children. We're not, the planet is a turnkey planet. You come here, it's already equipped with food. It came for free. Fresh water, fresh air, fresh food, turnkey. Planet Earth is a turnkey planet. You don't have to, figure it out. It's already been figured out for us. And we create the waste, we create the scarcity, just like you were saying before about the United Nations, about, the voting and everything. And I'll save that conversation, let you explain that better. But, we sabotage our own citizens. We create the harm. So there is plenty abundance. One of the things that we plan on doing with the food bank in 2026, and we're working on a program that makes sense, but it's to start providing seeds and dirt for people so that they can grow their own food, because we have to start becoming a little bit more sovereign and stop depending on the government, unfortunately, to provide us with EBT, SNAP food. The food is already the planet's anyway. It's already the citizens anyway. But we create these little programs and eligibility and dish this out, and you can have 200 a month to eat with, when it's absolutely crazy. There's plenty of abundance and plenty of dirt and soil for people to grow their own food.
That's amazing. And how easy is it for people to grow food if they live in apartments or they don't have yards, right? Like are there a lot of things you could grow in an apartment now?
Yeah, there's so many creators that grow stuff from their apartments, from their balconies, from their windowsills. There's amazing content. I've not done that before, but I follow these people. I'm like, it is so possible. I even go on Facebook Marketplace because they have those grow garden toolkits, and people like buy them and don't use them, and so they're like selling them or giving them away for free. So I plan on doing that and growing some stuff indoors, because I don't know how bad things are going to get, especially when the Three-Eye Atlas gets here. We don't know what's going to happen at that point.
Right.
But
Well, if nothing else from Breaking Bad and TV shows, people figured out how to grow pot, right? Like they figured out how to grow some stuff in their house. So, I mean,
exactly.
it's doable without planting in the backyard. So,
People will figure it out. But yeah, there are lots of people that, they get the seeds, or they take the scrap from food, from like celery, and they know how to put it in the dirt and regrow from scraps. There's so many creative ways to grow food. We just have to start educating ourselves.
what would you advise Jamin on? Because you started the Vegans of LA Food Bank in Los Angeles. For him to start a big initiative in Seattle, should he look for national organizations to work with or more local? And what's worked better for you, Gwen, in LA?
I mean, all the above, local, it all works. Like the national stuff, I started on that first before the food bank even started, and, gave people like, oh, I'm going to be starting the food bank in April, would love your support, or for you to provide any items that are close to expiration and send, donate, and not a peep. Or people said, oh, no, can't do it, or I'll get back to you, like hardly any support. But locally, from people that were volunteering, that knew a friend, that knew someone, started getting support. And then when we started getting more press, and then also being in the Google Analytics, where if you Google vegan food banks, we come up. Then national companies started reaching out and saying, oh, I love that you have a vegan food bank. We would love to donate a product. Like we got a ton of product from, I can't think of, but they do like the sunny side up egg. Um,
Just
hmm?
Hampton Creek,
No,
just.
not just, it's a sunny, I think it's called yolk
Uh,
or something.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, they gave us a ton of product, and we're grateful. But what's crazy is the lady that donated it said that they were basically, if they had like any error in how it looked, like if the yolk didn't come out a perfect shape, they would toss it. And she's like, stop tossing it, because they're perfectly, they can be cooked. They're edible. But just because they had an error, they were like throwing tons of stuff away. And so she got them to start giving them to us until they ended up moving. And that's another thing. A lot of companies, if there's any imperfection, they toss this stuff in the trash or they send the stuff to landfills. One time we got a call from a manufacturer that had 2 tons of coconut strips. And he's like, can you take it? We don't have space for 2 tons of coconut strips.
Yeah.
Aren't individually packed. And I was like, let me see if I can make some calls. He was like, well, if you can't take them today, we have to send them to the landfill. And we couldn't take them. And so they were in perfectly good shape. And so these are a lot of stories that I would hear over and over, things that are in excellent condition, but because someone waited to the last minute or because it had an imperfection, it's now in the landfill when it could be feeding people.
Yeah,
So
and I know you, Jamin, and I, we teamed up. Yeah, it's got to be 2 years now, where there was food that was about to hit expiration with Omni,
yeah,
and it was the vegan fish, the vegan,
that's a long way. We didn't,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and I think it was over 100,000 pounds of food by the end of it. That we teamed up with you on it. Uh, I remember Jamin driving a 26-foot U-Haul and dropping it off at. I didn't know the universities have food banks in California, so we dropped it off at university food banks, churches, the yeah, LA Mission. And that was kind of a powerful experience. And then we luckily got to team up with Support and Feed, which they do wonderful work. And then they coordinated to pick up a bunch of food to drop it off to the people they work with. So, but that was such a beautiful kind of moment of here's different organizations in Los Angeles that all found each other and worked together. And 100,000 pounds later, all this food got to people and they got to eat. And I remember that was around Thanksgiving. So I mean, it really is. People got meals that
Yeah,
holiday season, and hopefully it lasted them, maybe through Christmas. I mean, there are large quantities of food that people got.
we worked with
But
that for a long time. We
yeah,
used events. I even shared some with some people. We did at the food bank. We shared it with some of our volunteers. That stretched really well. Really, that was one of the best stretches we ever had.
no, and yeah, you were great because once you knew about it, you said, "I'll figure out how to get it." Like
Yeah,
set aside this for me and I'll do it. And I said, more than set aside, I don't even know, if we'll find enough people. But luckily, we had enough organizations that all came together and they picked up all of it and none of it got thrown away. So that was beautiful to see. So for you, like, what are your biggest needs as an organization? Like, is it having a bigger warehouse space? Is it people, if they have extra refrigerators, freezers to donate to you? Like, what would benefit you the most? Is it just having more financial resources so that way you can figure out how to allocate it as needed?
definitely financial resources. So now I have 3 freezers now, which is wonderful. Before I didn't have any. I was sharing um, with the food bank, which was always an issue. But through some donations, I was able to get 3 freezers and a refrigerator, which is working out wonderfully. Our space is pretty good for the work that we do. But financial resources are always helpful because we want to branch out and do other things. So, I was telling you earlier, like we're doing cooking classes with the parents over at Barack Obama Global Academy. Second quarter of 2026, we'll be at the Michelle Obama Library, creating a program from scratch. And then there's some other schools we would love to get back into that we were a part of. And with this SNAP thing that's happening now with EBT, um, I'm nervous. I don't know what the food bank line is going to look like in November and December, because I budget for a certain amount that we, do our research off of from each previous month. And I'm like, I hate to turn people away or I hate to run out of things, when there's a lot of people. So we try to take and give something to everybody. So yeah, we're a little nervous about November and December and what's going to happen into the new year if this stays as is. Lamert Park is a great place that I like to do outreach programs. When I work for Vegan Outreach, we did a lot of programs out there. That's always needed in that area. But yeah, the whole city is shaking a little bit because the SNAP I was on SNAP when I first came to Los Angeles. And it helped me for a little bit, but yeah, we got
Yeah.
the resources for sure. Or product, if and that's not why I love the grassroots or doing local, like you were asking national, local. There are people in the community that worked for vegan companies I didn't even know that were making introductions. Um, One young lady worked for Khalifa Products, and she ended up getting us a bunch of free product coupons to share with our with the customers in the line, where they can get free cartons of milk, which was wonderful. That wasn't a national. That was someone that was just there as a volunteer that happened to work for the organization. So yeah, everything helps.
That's great. I mean, for you, Jamin, as you've helped with a lot of social justice groups, but as you're embarking on this, uh, really full-time, full everything experience of trying to feed a whole city. I mean, are you inspired by what Gwenna does? Does it scare you to see, all the work she's had to do and it's never ending, or is it inspiring and
Oh,
are you
goodness.
ready for it?
It's super inspiring. And what I would like is for, and partly through this podcast and other channels, is to take the inspiring work that you're doing, your inspiring example, Gwenna, and sharing it with the world as best we can, and say, look, there's a Gwenna in all of us, right? Let's reach in and find our inner Gwenna, right? And because with volunteers, we can do so much. And I'd be curious to know your thoughts on this, Gwenna. But I'm what our mission as regards Western Washington. Let's just take a good chunk for starters. Um, the millions of people in Western Washington that we implement, that we inspire them to get involved and volunteer and help out in whatever ways they can. And let's inspire farmers, if they've got some surplus. Like I remember, during COVID, it was famous, the surpluses, truckload, like here, take all the potatoes you can because our whole channel is just non-existent. So find ways. And here's an interesting concept. So just consider this. Imagine we've made this ubiquitous in all of Western Washington, and everyone's eating and everyone's happy, and people from the community of all walks of life are like, hey, let's just head down to the community center and eat dinner there. And in the donations, slot, people can donate very generously. I'm looking forward to multi-million dollar donations, right? As well as dollar bills and spare change and everything else. Because people are paying for food now. And if they go down to the community center and eat for free, hey, a lot of them will be inspired to donate. We don't ask people to donate. We don't say, hey, donate. No, 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 no. It's just totally, totally optional is the idea. Um, and between volunteers and donations, I'm actually thinking we can probably turn this into a cash flow positive nonprofit, right? So no individual will take profits, certainly not me. We'll use money to buy food where we have to, but when you buy food by the truckload, it's insanely economical. So that's why we've got to hit scale, get this done. Whether it's cash flow positive or break even or whatever matters far less than that we do it, that we set the example. And then Hungerless in Seattle includes Meatless in Seattle, right? And because we need to eliminate all of animal agriculture and all commercial fishing all around the world. And this is the way to do it, changing people's diets, right? Um, anyway, so I'm really excited. I'm excited to ignite the conversation in Seattle and say we are lawless, both in terms of basic human needs and in terms of the needs of Mother Earth, right? We're doing so much harm. And what we really need is a profound collective transformation, and not just a transformation in our systems and whatnot, or even going so far as transformations in our culture. We need a deep spiritual transformation where we acknowledge that we are all one. So for Lawless in Seattle, our big three are, it's the acronym LUC, LUC, love, unity, and compassion. Baby Jamin first needs to feel loved. That's the most essential nutrient. And then he needs to feel like he's part of a family and part of a community. So that's unity. Then, compassion towards the rest of the world naturally flows from us once we feel safe, once we feel loved and united. Now we can be a compassionate city. So one of the programs we're working on is certified compassionate city. What makes a city compassionate? I want Seattle's now got the opportunity to set the standard as the world's first certified compassionate city. Take the lead on feeding everyone, take the lead on cooling the planet. We actually have the technology at the University of Washington, based in Seattle, to actually cool the planet through entirely clean, regenerative, no chemicals, anything like that, just spraying droplets of water into the air over the oceans, creating bright white clouds that reflect sunlight back into space. Yeah, we can forcibly cool the planet by deploying enough marine cloud brightening over the oceans, which are over two-thirds of the surface area of the planet anyway. So really, I'm proposing that Seattle take the lead in this spiritual transformation, and that we transform from Lawless in Seattle to Lucky in Seattle, love, unity, compassion, right? And become the world's first utopian, vegan, compassionate city. Why not? We've got everything going for us as a metropolis. Anyway, so that's the big vision. And you know what? We can do a sister relationship, right? Between the city of love up here in the Pacific Northwest and the city of angels. Yeah. Calling all angels. And we can do a sister city relationship, the first two compassionate metropolises, right?
That's beautiful. It's, yeah. So for you, Gwenna, as you've been on this journey, um, talk to me about some of the community partnerships that you built, and then in ways that you didn't expect them to grow. And like you said, a little bit about the volunteer, right? That got you to learn about Khalifa Farms and got you product. But what are some of the other like remarkable like community partnerships that have happened?
Yeah, I would say the very first one that supported us, I went to Expo West. This was right when the food bank, I think we were getting ready to get started. Yeah, because we started in April and Expo West was in March. So I went there begging for free products and coupons and pleaded my case. And Hodo Foods, which is an organic tofu company, they sell them in like Whole Foods and Sprouts. And they gave us like tons of free product coupons, which were so amazing. And then at the time, I don't know if they're still around, but I think they're called Catch. They were a vegan fish company, and they donated product to us, which was wonderful. Tofurkey at the time it given to us. Um, Chobani has been a long-term partner because they have a line of plant-based milks. Fortunately, got some weird stuff going on with one of their products that are not vegan, but they have been supporting us for a few years with giving us free product coupons for their plant-based, their large, I think it's like 64-ounce plant-based milks that they have, and they give them to us every year. And usually around November, December, we give the coupons out to our customers. So they've been a long-term partner. Just Eggs has donated tons of product to us. I think last year we gave out lots of product from them. Yeah, and then we had a tofu company donate a bunch of tofu. Usually around this year, we start getting the phone calls. Oh, All Vegetarian Inc. He's been a honor. They're out in El Monte. They're local and they supply a lot of restaurants with like the vegan drumsticks and shrimp and the vegan bacons that you'll have usually comes from them. And so usually around this time of year, they give us stuff that's close to expiration or things that haven't sold well. And we usually get a large amounts of it and we give it out to our customers. We have like the big old stuffed turkey logs that I didn't think anybody would be receptive to, but they take them.
Mhm.
We give them the shrimps and the mushrooms and all that stuff so that people have something to, cling on to, as a meat replacement. So they've been an amazing long-term partner with us. But yeah, product wise, it sometimes is just pretty random where someone will just, come by and just donate tons of items. Then we may not hear from them again. But those are the ones that have been a little bit consistent. But All Vegetarian Inc. has been there since day one.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, everybody should support all those companies for their generosity. If somebody has a relationship with a company or they're a founder of a company or their cousin's brother's aunt's sister is at a company, how do they contact you to let you know that they're ready to donate product to you?
So they can just go onto the website, vegansofla.com, vegan
Okay.
with an S, vegansofla.com, and submit on the contact form. It comes right to me. Or they can message me at Gwenna at vegansofla.com. Send me an email. But yeah, we would love to, and then we'll, provide a receipt, so they can provide it as a write-off. But yeah, we would love to. This is the time, and with everything going on, you know, we'll take everything and give. So the more, the better, because I think there's a huge scarcity mindset happening right now, a lot of fear. And so, and I'm even having it in the sense of just observing of, being nervous that there's going to be so many people that we may have to turn away, which I never want to happen. Like, I love the food bank. The only thing that makes me nervous is if we have to turn people away or if we run out and there's not enough stuff. That's always my concern every single month. And so far, we've done a good job, but I'm a little bit nervous about November. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, contact me and, we can, if it's local, we can arrange a pickup. So you don't have to be inconvenienced. We have a driver. So yeah, let's work it out. Let's do it.
Awesome.
That's tremendous. Now,
I
this
just,
is exciting. Go ahead, Jamie.
oh yeah, I just had a quick question. So if we were to provide just hypothetically stew, like large quantities of stew that you could give away cold, and you let your customers know, hey, please bring your own container, right? And anyway, I'm just wondering how that might have would you be receptive to that sort of a donation?
Would love to. The only issue with food is that we are mandated by the health department of Los Angeles. So we still have to wear masks. Like, it's mandatory. And when it comes to food like that, the only way we can give out food is if it is sealed in a container and done by a licensed kitchen. Otherwise, they won't allow us to give any random food out because they show up, they drive by, they look to make sure that we are socially distanced properly, that everyone has a mask, that there's no animals walking around. Like, they're very strict.
Yeah, and that may be uniquely Los Angeles, right, Gwen? I mean, right, that he may not have the same issues in Seattle,
Yeah,
where and I know in some places, right, the you bring your cup back, they can refill it. Some places are really receptive to it. Others are, well, we can't do that because we don't know if it's cleaned properly and what if there's cross-contamination, right? So you end up dealing with a lot of city health issues around people bringing their own containers.
yeah. So yeah, they have to be, like I said, prepackaged, sealed containers. and the food has to come from a licensed kitchen. And like I said, they show up to make sure we're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. But if it's all those things, that's great. It's prepackaged, it's sealed, it's ready to go. And then I've, been lucky enough to get to come to a few of your food bank days.
Mhm.
And I love how you set it up where people go down the line and they pick what they want. So you don't give them one bag.
No,
Here's three of this, two of that. And so why is it important for you to have them select quantity and type of food they want rather than it'd be easier on you if you just prepackage it all and just was like, take the next bag, right?
uh,
Like,
but it's a form of dignity, and they get to shop. They get to make a selection, and first of all, we have the most gratitude-filled customers ever. Everyone is always saying gracias, good morning, thank you, God bless you. Like they are so grateful. So, every item that we give out, every form of produce, there's a human assigned to it. And the people, they bring their own bags or boxes. And so, yeah, we'll say, oh, you want kale? A lot of them will say, no, I don't, no, 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 no. But, there's certain items where everybody's like, yeah, so they get to pick and choose. Because if you do that, especially in a setting like that, you'll find a lot of the stuff on the ground, or in the trash. Like people want what they want. And just because they're going through a struggle, doesn't mean that they shouldn't have choices. They should still be able to pick and choose what they want. We did a survey a couple of years ago on the line to find out how people were feeling about, if they were eating more plant-based, if how they were feeling about the stuff that they were getting. And, we wanted to find out what they wanted more. The people like, the cabbage, we want cabbage. We want more jalapenos. They were letting us know what they need and what they want. And so we try to make sure that we have, if we can have those staples every single month for them. Because it's important to have what you need and also what you want. And it's vegetables. So yeah, if somebody wants a cabbage, okay, you're getting a cabbage this week. Yeah.
yeah, I remember uh, I was next to our friend Paige Parsons Roach, and she was on the lettuce duty, right? So she had a giant pallet of lettuce, and I was right next to her, and I'm trying to remember what my thing was. It might have been asparagus. Like I don't remember what it was. But like she get three, two people take two, they take three. They would pass my line by and they're like, no, I don't want any. And I was like, wait a second, why does she get the high popular item? I mean, I know she's prettier and smarter than me, but I mean, come on, put me on the popular item. So maybe it was me. They just wanted to avoid me. But
Well,
but I remember that experience of there was no, hey, you can only have one. Sorry. It's how many do you need? How many would you like? And and they brought their carts, their boxes,
yeah.
and they're like, oh, I'm at capacity. I can't take more. They're like, oh, well, let me get an extra one for my cousin, my neighbor. And that was beautiful to see that they were thinking about, people in their community, or they call their neighbor and say, hey, if you can come over right now, come and get some of this food.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can just take extra back for you. And yeah, just the feeling of community and everybody looking out for each other. Like, I mean, it brought tears to me. Like I was so inspired being there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful experience. Like I tell people, like if you're down or going through something, come to the food bank. And it's not because you're in a superior position and you're being a hero or doing a rescue. No, their gratitude rescues us too. Like it's a reciprocal experience. Like, you know, I had posted a video. It was narrated by the late Dwayne Dyer, who was talking about the science of gratitude and was saying just being in the vicinity of gratitude or observing it can raise your serotonin levels and can change your energy field. And it's not woo. It was actually it's actually very scientific in the act of giving and the act of receiving, because that's how we're supposed to be on this planet. We're supposed to be in community and helping one another. And I think we've gotten the government so involved in rescuing us and saving us that we've forgotten that. And so now we're getting ready to see community come up again. because everybody's getting ready to start helping and doing what they can to make sure that, no one's hungry and that no one's going without. So, I'm sorry about the SNAP and I hope it comes back. But in the meantime, the benefit of it that it'll draw us closer together and show us, that we're supposed to be taking care of one another.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I also find it interesting. You always refer to everyone as customers, not clients, right? Which is that terminology, right? If you see them as customers, then they have autonomy. They get to pick what they want. Like they have choice, where client is much more of a view of, hey, we're going to provide a service and we're the service provider. So you've taken the hierarchy out and you've really turned it into what's going to make the customers happy and what's going to bring them back and what's going to give them, and what you said earlier, they're picking the items they want, and then you're going to the best of your ability, try to get more of that. And
Mhm.
if they don't like something, then you won't take up space on a pallet with stuff that only, 2% of the people there want.
And like eggplant was one I had to learn the hard way. Most people did not want eggplant ever, except maybe if we have like our community is mostly like Guatemalan, Cuban,
Mhm.
Mexican, then Korean, and then white, black. But it was mostly the Korean or Asian community that wanted the eggplant. Nobody else wanted the eggplant. So we'd be stuck with all this eggplant, having to give it to another church community at the end. So I was like, okay, we don't purchase eggplant ever again. So yeah, you learn.
Yeah, maybe I was on eggplant duty. Now that I think, I
Hey,
got, I got to
there's
justify why I had such a
a lot of
terrible level of
eggplant, a lot of rejection.
But I mean, it was. I mean, your operation is just so efficient. Like, I think I got there 7:15, 7 something. And I think what time do you get started? Because it's like less than 2.5 hours. People are lined up. Nobody's cutting anybody. Nobody's yelling at anybody. They're just loving and they're nice. And somebody's struggling to carry stuff. Somebody will get out of line and help them. Like, you just feel the whole feeling of community the whole time you're there.
Yeah, and Will, who is the operations manager, he's um a retired police officer, so he doesn't play games, because sometimes there's people that come in with some mental health issues. He shuts it down real quick, and people know don't play games with Will. So he makes sure that we, pass the inspections. If the health department comes up, make sure people aren't too close. Everyone has to wear a mask. Um, that we're giving out enough. Sometimes we have to adjust how much we're giving out. If the line is too long, okay, instead of 4 avocados, I only give out 3 because we want to make sure everybody gets something. So he's a huge, huge part. And I think he gets there around 5 or 4:30 in the morning to
Wow.
get everything organized. And then he has volunteers that come for him and they start setting things up outside, and getting all the pallets and everything organized. So yeah, if it wasn't for him, it'd be very difficult.
Yeah. Well, I've been around Jamin now. It's probably 4 years, 5 years. Jamin, you sing those beautiful Spanish love songs. With Gwenna saying she's got a lot of Guatemalan customers. Will you come and serenade them one of these mornings and
Oh my,
sing to them while they're in line? I
I
mean,
would.
you might drive customers away. Let's start with that. I've heard that voice. He has a voice for silent film, but his singing voice, people love it. But yeah, is that something you're willing to come down and do sometime, Jamin?
I would love to. Next time I'm in LA, I'm gonna try to I'll schedule my trip so that we can do it on a it's third Thursday, right?
That's right. That's right.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That, that's great. Well, now this has been wonderful, and Jamin, I know a lot of when we talked about creating this podcast, it's an opportunity for you to learn how to, you're embarking on such a big mission of creating an entire city that will not deal with hunger and security with this whole Hungerless in Seattle mission. So, talking to Gwenna, I'm sure has been insightful for you, and you got some great tips of national and local groups to work with, some of the, health department issues that maybe more LA than Seattle, but it's all helping you figure out how to do this in the best, most efficient way and how you can maximize all the great volunteers you're going to have.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been great hanging with you both. And Gwenna, we've hung together
Yeah.
on various occasions. In fact, one time we were brainstorming how do we do this in Mexico City and
Yeah.
whatnot. Um, no, I would love to continue collaborating with you, and also love to have you back on the podcast. So just as you get inspired about big ideas or stuff you want to share or stuff you want to reach out to the community and message of any kind, you know that you're always welcome here. We'd love to have you back.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to share because you mentioned something that is very near and dear to me. You were saying about how we're all one.
Yeah.
And that is so alive in me at this time in my life. And next year, I'm going to be switching over to the name Planetary Unity and getting out of the name I'll still have Vegans of LA for like local fun stuff, but it's going to be planetaryunity.org. It's a dead site right now, but it'll be up soon. I'm working on everything. And the message for Planetary Unity is about also oneness and unity and getting out of the illusion of race and skin color and all of these things that we've been so programmed to just follow and pay attention to. And I know how hard it is to come out of the programming because sometimes I still fall into certain things every once in a while. Something makes me mad and I get caught up and I'm like, snap out of it, Gwenna. Get out the glitch. But
Wow.
yeah, the purpose of Planetary Unity is about being a better steward of the earth, being loving yourself, heal yourself, heal the planet. So all those messages I want to share and expand. Definitely caring about the animals, but I don't want it to just be a single message about veganism. I want to put all of it because we need as much self-awakening as we possibly can get. And I believe it's happening. I think that we are evolving. I think that the so-called powers that be are playing their role. Because in a weird way, even though they are causing a lot of harm, but they're also creating a lot of unity. A lot of nations are joining forces now and coming together. A lot of people are experiencing things they didn't think they would experience in their culture. And so people are starting to wake up and see a lot of things. So I am extremely optimistic for the future and for the earth and for the planet. And I do believe unity is possible in this lifetime. It's possible at any moment. We just have to point the finger more at ourselves than at other people. So that's my TED Talk.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Love
Yeah,
it.
this is
Love it.
great. So Gwenna, real quick for people that want to volunteer, they want to donate items for companies they work with, they want to financially donate, or they live in the LA area and they could benefit for being one of your customers at the food bank. What's the website again and all the social media where they can find you?
Okay, so the website again is vegans with an S, VEGANS of LA.com, vegansofla.com. And there's a contact form on there. So if you send it, it'll come directly to me. And there's other information on the site as well. And then on Instagram, it is vegans of Los Angeles _ and you'll see there's another Vegans of Los Angeles, but it's not active. So you'll see, and you can send me a message on there as well. But yeah, if you have any type of resource or you want to come and volunteer, I won't lie, we're going to be probably over capacity for volunteers. We're finally doing really well in the area of volunteers. We have a lot of people that are dedicated and love to show up and love to help. But come on down because we always need help with breaking down boxes and picking up lettuce off the ground and helping people to their cars and things like that. So come on down. We could definitely utilize you.
Thank you both for what you're doing. I'm so excited to see how this will all continue. And I think a year from now, we're going to see that Jamin will have solved hungerless issues in Seattle. So, and you were part of that journey for him, Gwenna. So, thank you both, and yeah, everybody that can help Gwenna in any way, please go to vegansofla.com and support her work. So, that's it for this edition. We look forward to seeing you all at the next podcast. And again, if you can help Gwenna with vegansofla.com, reach out to her. And if you can help Jamin with his efforts to create Hungerless in Seattle, please help with that. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye now.
Thanks, Ravat. Thanks, Gwenna.
Thank you.